Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Markus Rautopuro. I'm the Director of New Business Development at Aureolis. And I'm here with our customer, Mats Olsson, who's the CEO of Alphapack. And we are going to tell you something about an IoT-based business intelligence solution we created for manufacturing quality control. But some first words about business intelligence and what it is. The goal of business intelligence is to make companies more competitive. What it practically means is data warehousing, reporting, analytics, and knowledge management. Data warehousing is about bringing all the company data in a single point. And then reporting is, of course, utilizing the data to produce something meaningful as the basis for decisions. And the IoT part really handles the data warehousing part. So IoT devices can be a source for a data warehouse. These are the platform providers we work closely with, and most of them have already very cost-effective IoT platforms. Some of the business intelligence trends in 2017 are, for example, self-service analytics. So modern BI platforms in general provide very good tools for the end users to produce reports by themselves. And if you create some sort of a report, do some sort of data modeling and analysis based on that, you can easily share the content to other people and get some feedback on your work. All data becomes equal, which probably means that as a traditional BI system, you connect to some sort of a CRM or ERP system to get the data and produce reports out of that. But it really doesn't matter nowadays if the data is, for example, in the cloud as an open data source. You can easily pick up that up and combine it with ERP system data to provide meaningful analytics. We see a strong transition to the cloud. It's not only the data sources that are in the cloud nowadays, but it's also the complete BI platforms that can be purchased and set up purely entire based on the cloud installation. Modern BI platforms also allow you to embed different kinds of reports to virtually any web content your company provides. So it's not necessarily anymore a reporting portal that you get the information from. You can actually embed the reports, dashboards, KPIs to, for example, companies' own web page and intranets and stuff like that, even mobile phones. Okay, so what does IoT and business intelligence got to do with each other? Well, IoT devices by definition are internet connected, which means that they provide some sort of connectivity to the cloud. And of course, if your BI system is based on the cloud, it's also kind of easier to combine these two interfaces in the internet. If you think of temperature monitoring through sensors, you have like 1,000 sensors that produce temperature information every second. It becomes very big after a while. You need a lot of data storage. This needs to be handled in the business intelligence infrastructure. You also need some scalability. If you want to scale up production, for example, set up another production plant and have some 10,000 sensors there and a third one and so on. You also need some processing power because the actual data that comes from the IoT devices is very low level. So you need to do some average calculations and advanced analytics, and they require that. Predictive analysis is also one key thing, and this is something that we've done and we've been prototyping with Alphapack, is that it's not only that you should display, for example, the current temperature in the factory hall. You could combine this information with the actual weather data to get the prediction on whether it's sunny tomorrow. It will most likely raise the temperature outside the factory hall and then also affect the inside temperature inside the temperature hall. And based on that, you can create alerts, and you could also alter the process parameters to produce something more meaningful when the temperature rises. Mats will talk about this later. And these are also the things that from the business intelligence side are very interesting. We could get some location data. We have a lot of mobile devices, and if you look at the retail sector, they are already kind of monitoring the users that walk around in the stores to get some data where, for example, people shop and stuff like that. And what we are looking at here is also the integration to operational systems. Operational systems can be also, in fact, the actual product lines we connect to. So the machines in the product lines, we get the data from there. And as somebody said in the previous presentations, we have also found that Microsoft provides a very cost-effective platform to do all of these. Okay, so then some slides about the actual case itself. And I thought that the best guy who would tell about the Alphapack and their business challenges would be the CEO himself. So let's welcome Mats.
Thank you. Thank you, Markus. It's a privilege to be here, and a bit humbling as well, because I'm probably representing one of the smaller companies on stage today. We're not a global company, we're not a multi-billion-dollar or euro company, but we are an average-size family business in Sweden. And we sell our products mostly in Scandinavia and in Europe. What we do is that we develop and sell plastic film. And plastic film you could find in almost any type of application. We have customers within almost any type of industrial field you would find. You would find it in the medical industry for us, the food industry, the automotive industry, and the military industry, and infrastructure. So we have customers in almost any field you can find. We are 90 people employed, so we're a mid-size company going on almost 50 years close to be now. One of our key questions is that we run production around the clock, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And that's one of the issues we are addressing with this monitoring of temperature in our factory. I'll come back to that a bit later. We produce around 8,000 tons of product. That's not much in our business, but it's quite a fair amount of different products. We do about 5,000 different articles a year, and we have around 1,000 different raw material blends. And that is a key question when it comes to processing temperatures. So this is, for those of you who don't know, what we normally do and have never seen an extruder of plastic film. Our machines look like the one on the right-hand side on the picture. We take plastic raw materials, we blend it like in a bakery, get a recipe, and then we melt it and blow it very, very thin film. In our world, something that is 50 hundredths of a millimeter thick is quite thick. So we work with very thin products. We have on the picture, you see an extruder with up to 3 different feeding layers. It has an inside, a middle, and an outside. And we do products with even up to 7 different layers, with different raw materials in each layer. And that's one of the tricky things to handle when you have a temperature issue. So the challenges that we see, for us, it's since we do so many different product changes in 1 year, handle so many different raw materials, we need to plan in sequence. That is either where we win or lose in our world. If we do a very good sequence planning, we earn money. If we don't, we create a lot of production waste. Because there's such a big mix of different articles, and since we run around the clock. And all of these different recipes behave differently. Some of them are very similar, and they can be planned in a good sequence. Others are very, very different, as black to white. So that creates our machine. They run on different speeds for different blends. And sometimes, if it's daytime, you can run on a certain speed. If it's nighttime, you can run on a different speed. If it's summer or winter, and so on. When we tell our customers, about the lead time for delivery to them, we always have to give sort of an estimate. We have to give an average. We will have your products ready in about 3 weeks' time. We can never say the exact day, the exact date, or hour even. So this is something that we want to improve. But we do know that the room temperature, or the factory temperature, does affect the processing parameters for us. Both if we have a too hot climate, we need to reduce speed. Otherwise, the plastic bubble you saw on the other picture will stick to itself, so it cannot get open. So that's a big issue. Or if the operator, for whatever reason, sets the speed too high, we will get a claim from a customer or a defect production. And we also know that, like I said, that if the temperature is too high or we produce too fast, the quality goes down. But we don't know yet. We're in the process of learning now at what exact temperatures these critical things occur. And we were also in the process of learning at what specific temperature levels these sort of limitations for our productions occur. And if we can figure this out, we can actually earn money. So what we are doing together with Aureolis, we've started I guess, prototyping process of monitoring our temperature levels in our factory. And we do that from the floor level up to the ceiling. The machines we have 12 different lines, and they're up to almost 20 meters high. So we have different temperatures on different levels in the factory. And we want to combine that with external data, for instance, from weather services. And if we get enough data and we have a good analysis model, we hope to be able to forecast the right processing parameters for us. So we know that when we put our planning, the sequence planning that we do every day, for each and specific production run, and use the sea of data or the big ocean of data for this. And what we want to achieve is nothing more than reduce our quality costs. We want to increase the production capacity, because if we can pinpoint the exact tempo or speed for each specific production, we can probably increase our overall capacity and make more efficient use of our machinery. And we can give better information to our customers on maybe the specific date or day or hour they will get their delivery. That's about it. I'll hand it over to you now again.
Yeah. All right. As Mats said, it's a prototype, so we are using prototype hardware at the moment. We chose Texas Instruments sensor tags because they are kind of easy to obtain, and they also contain multiple sensors that we could use. So we are using them to measure the temperature in the factory hall. We connect to the open weather data. We are using 2 data sources. We could be using other data sources, but it seems that Swedish Meteorological and Hydrological Institute provides the most accurate temperature data just around the factory area. We also have connections to Weather Underground, which are not as good. We store the data into Azure-based cloud, and we push the data forward to Microsoft Power BI. I don't know if most of you know the sensor tags, but they are using Bluetooth Low Energy. I actually saw some other providers here which are providing production-grade technology to do the actual monitoring, which we will transition to at some point when we move out of this prototype phase. Okay, well, they are wireless. They seem to have a quite a long battery life, but it also depends that if you hold all the sensors up, they contain 10 sensors, and if you power all of them, then it will, of course, affect the battery life themselves. We are currently measuring the object temperature and the ambient temperature, but we are planning on adding the humidity and pressure also. And then also a reminder, so these things need to be calibrated because they are not production grade. So if we stick 5 of these sensors to the same place, they will display a different temperature. But they can be calibrated. So the tolerance is ±1 Celsius, but you can actually measure quite accurate readings when they are calibrated. So basically what we do is we planted the sensors to different heights in the factory hall. As Mats explained, it's near the extruder, and there are these railings that you can attach the sensors to. We started with 5 sensors. And there's a hub, which is actually a mobile phone app, because it's really easy to do. We could have used, for example, Raspberry Pi and configured some custom software to run in it, but we didn't do that. We didn't do that yet. And then we push the results to the cloud. We are using Azure as the platform, so all the data is stored in the IoT hub. It acts like a bucket where we flow the data into, and then we use Stream Analytics to gather the data and push the results to Power BI. And in Power BI, we have a real-time IoT dashboard, which will display things I will show you next. We also push some data aside as an SQL storage, because we have plans to integrate this in other data warehouse that is built on an SQL server. Well, here's a raw image of the data itself. It's not very interesting because it just displays the sensor temperatures. But the interesting part is what we can do with the weather forecast. So imagine a thing that we can actually measure the inside temperature in the factory hall. But if we know that it's going to be raining tomorrow, we probably know that the humidity will rise, and it might have an effect on the process and the quality. And also, if it's going to be sunshine tomorrow outside the building, the temperature will rise there, and it will most likely rise inside the factory itself. And the business intelligence part starts from here. So we can do alerts to the process, and we can also, in the end, alter the process parameters automatically or semi-automatically. And this is something that we hope to learn in the upcoming months. Yes. So conclusions, probably SensorTAC and Azure, they have very low time to market if you want to do something very fast. And also Azure, as somebody mentioned before, also provides a very production-grade scalability. But for the sensors, you actually need to replace them with a real production scale accuracy. We'll most likely add humidity and pressure next, and we will most likely add some new data sources to Power BI, and add some product line monitoring as well. So that's about it, and probably if you have some more questions, we have a stand at the end of the hall, so come and visit us there.
Thank you.
Thank you.